This is the phase you can still see the injuries. I was left with a head injury, and I was left with facial injuries, which I've never had compensation. I did all the police work while I worked at Priors. My office was put in 12 Almost Drive, given to Lucy Rogers, and Caroline Gould was in 10 Almost Drive, a paranoid schizophrenic victim. I was born in the 70s, and I can drive, and they all give the money to Lucy Rogers at 12 Almost Drive, and she was in my loft. The office was given to Lucy Rogers when a paranoid schizophrenic called Martin Marriott, who I sent to prison. He left me in 10 Almost Drive. He left me for dead for 18 hours. He turned up. This was all planned when I worked in a government building. I started working in the government building in the early 90s. And this was all planned. Lucy Rogers and Lorraine Taylor, who works for a government building, Lorraine Taylor, who was the manager for Manpower Sheffield, who I started working under. This lady was pretending to be a friend. She was stood in 12 Almost Drive's back garden laughing her head off. And Julie Morley authorised my office to be put in 12 Almost Drive. And this was before the Hillsborough investigation. And the only protection that I had was a camera via TV. And I had the paranoid schizophrenic come out of prison and in Laurel Limes, where I worked, from leaving Direct Health, where I was a senior carer, which Julie Rose didn't like, to I changed jobs because of bullying from Direct Health, and I was investigating Direct Health for Julie Rhodes' friends doing illegal stuff. One of them was left on the floor and money stolen from Julie Rose's friend, Michael Canetti. Natalie Wilson-Leary did a few things, and Natalie Wilson-Leary and Sam Bates did a few things via Direct Health, and these was Julie Rose's friends. And the police officer knew I did all the police work. He called himself PC Buxton. He works from Derbyshire Constabulary. He knew I did all the police work in 10 Almost Drive while I worked at Priors while I was drugged. He didn't give me a thing. He offered me dinner. Julie Morley and Sean Morley take the credit. They took the credit for the Hillsborough investigation, which I did in 2012. I didn't get a penny for that. I did all the police work. And Lucy Rogers has been trying to make out that I'm some kind of psychopath. She's brainwashed my 14-year-old daughter. And they paid Carol Shinzel, who was in the office in summer 2012. And it was all my police work. And it was nothing to do with Carol Shinzel. And I've not been given a penny. They all give Carol Shinzel the official stuff. They could climb through Caroline's loft. And I've asked police for help. And the government won't help me. They've ignored my complaints. And these complaints have been going on for 10 years. And the house was a crime scene. Caroline's water tank, Caroline's loft, and Caroline's police work. And they would not leave the house alone because Michelle Anassi, she thought she was the victim. She was groomed by Priors and groomed by Lucy Rogers. She pretended that she needed witness protection. And Lucy Rogers went speaking to Martin Gordon, who was in my house. This was arranged. And they haven't given me a penny. They would change the wills. Jeff Gould left a will to his wife, Caroline Gould, who he married before he died of cancer in 2006. Sarah, his so-called daughter, stalked me. She stalked me for day after the funeral. And this is what police think's intelligent. And this has got nothing to do with South Yorkshire Police. This is my private life. Julie Morley was sat in 12 Almost Drive talking to Sarah from High Green about her will. It was nothing to do with professional standards. Because, as you know, Even police have guidelines. Professional standards' job is to investigate other police, not to take the credit for Caroline's work. I did all the work. And she sat in number 12 and she went to Lucy Rogers, "Oh, what have they done to her?" She was sat watching me via the police camera. This is I treat a victim. And she was a police officer what turned up from the investigation. She didn't speak to me. She spoke to a gentleman called Melvin Taylor, who lost his life in August 2004. And she treated me from day one like I lost my human rights. And this is not how you treat a victim. I asked her for official equipment. That means if anything happens, I've got protection. But she didn't do this. A gentleman from the police spoke to my 14-year-old daughter. I don't know his name. He called himself PC Buxton. He had the office put in 12 Almost Drive, and he thought this was professional policing. Me do all the work, and he goes and speaks to Carol Shinzel. She lives at Batemore Place. It's nothing to do with her. She's a social scrounger. Her and her ex-convict boyfriend. He only with her because for money, which Lucy Rogers has paid them. And it was all my police work, and they all think it's clever. Paul Latchford's died since, and I've lost numerous people, and she's been telling everybody that I'm a psychopath. She's brainwashed my daughter, who I was very close with until 2012, until South Yorkshire Police got involved, and the government won't meet with me. And the local MP moved the doctors from Cobner Road to cover Julie Morley's back because she went speaking to the doctors in 2012. And she never ever followed procedure. She didn't send me a letter, directed so I could fight his release in 2012. This man is a danger to society. He's a paranoid schizophrenic. His name when I had him sent to prison was Martin Marriott. He changed his name to Darren Martin, and he was actually stood in front of me on the date of release in a Sainsbury's car park at Archer Road, Sheffield. Stood in front of me, just watching me. And Lucy Rogers actually knows this gentleman. And all she said, she got ex-convicts sat in 12 Almost Drive, said, that's all she said, is all up the watching her. That's all she cared about, is destroying me, making money. I asked the gentleman from South Yorkshire, from Derbyshire Constabulary. He's 6'2", he's got blonde hair, blue eyes, and he's the one's name what's on the office. And he thought this was professional policing, setting a trap on a victim. So if you ever see this gentleman, his name's not PC Buxton, because he's never met me since. He's never replaced a TV, what South Yorkshire Police have broke. He's never done anything for me personally, even though he knew I did all the police work. And I was the one from Priors, and Priors got away with drugging me and breaking every law in the book, thanks to Batemore Place. They are both social scroungers. Martin Howell has never worked a day in his life. He is Lucy Rogers' secret boyfriend. They've had money from my office in number 12, and it's me what won. So that means when I voted and did all the work and I won, in 12 Almost Drive under police camera, when I won in September 2016, everything. That means as soon as I won, they give everything to me. But they didn't. He offered me dinner. A police officer offered a paranoid schizophrenic's victim dinner. And he's never even given me wages. And I did all the police work. And Julie Morley has been in Andrew's house. And my late father's called Andrew Shinzel, and that is not a very common name. And she's had his ex-wife in here, and Sarah from I Green in Andrew's house, but they don't know each other. So if you ever see Carol Shinzel and Sarah Gould Turner, she lives in a flat above Vets, I Green, in a council flat. Carol Shinzel lives in a 2-bedroom flat. She didn't vote, she didn't do any police work or anything. She was just given the money from Lucy Rogers. Richard Saxon, who's my stalker, and got away with it. He was on my floor in my bedroom, October 2012. And when I phoned police, I've had Michael Canetti answering. He's not police, he is from Direct Health. I've had phone hacking. Is all Julie Morley's told me to do is phone 101. And that's my office, but for my protection. This woman is not a straightforward policewoman. She lets me do the work and she takes the credit. So if you ever see Julie Morley, please don't trust this woman. Please don't trust her husband. He got promoted in 2012 on the husband investigation. They are corrupt police family. She bought a new house on money out of my office. And I've not had no money, and even though I did the full police work. And I'm not playing games with the government because that office was bought for Caroline, the victim of a paranoid schizophrenic. And I'm not related to anybody called Carol Shinzel because she died when I was a child. This is police cover-up. She's not my mother. She died, and this is what the police are covering up. Thank you, Julie Morley, for your professional policing and your free. And I do want 10 Almost Drive put back like it was when I won. Hello, Derbyshire Constabulary, PC Buxton, in the wrong name, Mr. Fraud Squad.